Welcome along, everybody. We are here for a bit of a new one. This is PSR Purple Sector Racing, and we have got the season finale here of this fantastic GR3 league as well. Of course, racing around the Le Mans circuit tonight as well for the finale, the final race of the season tonight. So looking forward to seeing how it's going to unfold. I am a guest appearance there for myself in the comments box, but these guys, I think I've commentated on a few of these guys before as well. We know what they can do in this event, so looking forward to seeing how the race does unfold. Of course, the qualifying format, or the practice and qualifying format, is underway as we speak. Currently Reza there on pole position, as it stands half a second ahead of Naeem as well, who is sitting in P2. Angel there in P3 currently. Nadeem in P4, just heading out now in the GR Super as well. And then we've got Super Manny there in the pit lane there, just casually sitting tight as it stands at the moment. But looks like a few more drivers still to join us as well. But we'll crack on. We've got about 8 more minutes or so of the qualifying still to go. So there's still time for people to jump into the session as well. But welcome along. Of course, we'll go through the standings as well when we get nearer to the start of the race. But we'll have a few rundowns of the championship as it stands going into the final race as well. Then we'll have a look at the classifications and what is going to be up for grabs there tonight in the final race, like I said, of the season as well. It's going to be an interesting one to watch how it all develops. A lot of drivers, it looks like. As it looks like Rez is having an issue there. He's been parked up by the side of the road for quite a while, so I'm not quite sure if that's a glitch. It might be just on my screen anyway. It seems like on my map anyway. It seems some people are frozen and some people are okay, but hopefully that's just a glitch on their end and it's not me. Fingers crossed we'll find out. But anyway, we are back on track here with Naeem Mohammed as well, coming down now towards the first few corners as well. Nice to see you again, says Superman as well. Good to have you in the chat as well. But we need to get you on track, sir, to get you racing. Here we come through into sector 2 now for Mohammed as well in the GR Super. We've seen, like I said, scrolling through, we've seen a few GR Supers already, haven't we? I think we've got Reza there, of course, currently on pole position, who has got a time of a 3:55 there in the Super as well. Angel is in the 911 Porsche, of course, which is sponsored by the M&M livery, it looks like. Looking very nice indeed there in the Porsche car. And then we've got another GR Super there of Nadeem there, of course. Nadeem is going to be taking us around at this track as well. We'll have a quick look, come back to him as well as Super Manny, is on track as well. But he's also got himself in a Toyota Supra as well, which is interesting to see. Maybe that is the choice car. We have a few people in the lobby who have not got their cars picked just yet. I think DJ has just jumped into the session. So hopefully he can get himself sorted and get himself into the car as soon as possible. But we are ready to get going now, and here we go. We can see Manny there setting his anger. That is the first time he has got himself out of the pit lane as well, which is good stuff indeed. Mohammed there is back in the pits after sending his sights, I should say. Let's have a look. As we can see, Angel there has jumped up the order to P2. I think he has anyway. It looks like he's just set time, but he's just saying he's 11 seconds now behind Resident, which I'm not sure is correct. Of course, we do expect changing conditions around this circuit. It's a very long lap time indeed, as J00 has joined us in the session as well, as has Rav. But like I said, I think a few more drivers. We're expecting some more changes to this session in terms of the weather conditions throughout the race, and of course the tyre wear as well. It is quite difficult, and I think the rain has started to fall already. We can see the raindrops falling now on the screen, and that means that I think there's a few people who are going to be having to abandon their times now, abandon their sessions right now, I should say, unless they're out on the intermediate compound tyre. Which I don't think Angel is, although he's currently gone up to the top step at the moment, although I think that's because Reza has returned to the pit lane. There he is there. Mohammed J00 is in the pits as well. Those windscreen rubbers are working non-stop already, even though he's not out on the circuit. Same for DJ as well, but Angel is sticking out of there as he comes now down the long straight towards the next chicane, I should say. But like I said, at the moment, I don't think the conditions are ideal for the dry tyres, which it seems like those soft compound tyres that Angel's got on that Porsche 911 are probably not going to be the best suited at this time at the moment. But we'll see what's going to change as well when we head into the race itself. Like I was saying, it's a guest appearance for myself tonight. in the comms box here for Purple Sector Racing, the final race of the season in the GR3 division, and we're looking forward to seeing how it's going to unfold. We will run through the championship order in a couple of minutes now as we're getting towards the end of the qualifying as well. And there we go. Unfortunately for Angel, he's off the circuit there at the end of the chicane. They're just trying to get the car back on track, but he's having a few issues. It looks like he's doing some donuts there for the final race of the season there to entertain us there as we go around, as we get going again. And we're going to be starting at I think we're going to be starting in about 10 minutes time or so, so not too long now. But the rain has started to fall. I think hopefully, no, we can't. We've just got somebody going past there. I think it was Rav who has picked up a penalty there. Rav is in the Dodge Viper tonight as well. Looking forward to seeing how it's going to handle around the Le Mans circuit as well. So good stuff indeed. He is on the soft compound tyres as well. So I'm not quite sure the driver's got the memo just yet, as Nadeem has set the intermediates on his car. Double O is on the circuit. He's in the Ford GT, looking very good indeed in the Spec 2 as well. So like I said, we will have this practice / qualifying session that will be taking us through into the next 5-10 minutes or so, and we will have to wait and see how the race is going to develop after that. Of course, the race will follow straight away after the practice and qualifying is over, and we've only got about less than 10 minutes now of the practice and qualifying to do, and then we'll be into the race very, very shortly. So there we go, then nice little shot there for the Double O's GT. And as we come down again straight towards the chicane, this is where we've seen a few drivers being caught out. He's on the wet compound tyres, so he's going to have a bit more stability there on those wet compound tyres than the others we saw, like Angel and Rav there on the softs, I think it was. So they managed to get themselves through there. He's managed to get himself through there very nicely done indeed. We've got Nadeem there also on the intermediate compound tyres, getting some practice laps in as well. But 8 drivers now in the session. I think we've got a couple more in the lobby that are just waiting to getting their cars. Hopefully waiting for the rain to pass as well potentially. But we'll find out when it's going to be going. I think we might be able to start the race very soon and there might be a bit of a wet start as well. We'll have to find out. But now into the chicane, the next chicane, I should say, we go as again the Ford GT negotiating it very nicely done. Oh, very bit squirrely there on the exit. He's got the power down nicely now, to get himself out of the corner there. Of course, the times that were set, I think it was Reza who set the fastest lap time so far, 3 minute 5.276. And of course that was set in the dries, wasn't it, as well? As we've got somebody else who joined the session. I think it's Muzza who's joined. He's got himself into again another GR Supra. So it looks like the popular car there is the Toyota Supra tonight, but looking good indeed with the nice purple livery as well. I'll have to have a look and see what the sponsors are on that one as well. But there we go. So yeah, a couple of people jumping in to their cars. Now we've got everybody ready to get going. Of course, like I said, it's a bit of a guest appearance for myself here in Purple Sector Racing, just covering the final round of the season, and looking forward to seeing what we can have as a great show, I'm sure, tonight. We're going to have an exciting race nonetheless, and like I said, especially if these conditions carry on as well, I think the rain does always entertain, doesn't it? It makes for an interesting race for sure. And of course it throws up a bit more strategy conflicts as well. We've got 10 people now in the session. Sheik has joined as well. I remember commentating on the Sheik before as well. He has joined us as well, and once again in the GR Supra as well. I think we've got about 8, we've got about 10 drivers on the grid, and we've got about 8 Supras on the grid as well, which is interesting to see. But there we go. That is the car of choice, it seems. As now down the hill he comes towards sector 2. But like I said, he's got a Supra there. There's a Muzzer is off the circuit there. He's got a very nice livery indeed. But I don't think the livery's going to help him there on those intermediate compound tyres. He's trying to spin the car up to get it back underway, but he's got the car going in that case. He's got it sorted now, and down the straight he can get going once again as looks like Nadeem's picked up a penalty then. Double O on the circuit as well now on the wet compound tyres, still on that Ford GT. But at the moment I think it's nobody's going to be able to beat Rez's time, of course, 3 minute 55. A long lap around here, of course, but the wet conditions have added to that lap time as well. The first time that we got there on the board, the fastest lap so far was set in the dry compound by Reza as well. When the session did start, it was a dry session, so like I said, the practice is still underway. We're going to have a few more minutes, I think less than 5 minutes now of the practice, and then we will get ourselves into the race itself. But like I said, we have got ourselves a bit of a tasty one tonight. The finale there of the PSR division, GR3 division as well. So looking forward to seeing how it's going to unfold. It looks like the weather has seemed to go away a bit for the time being, anyway. So hopefully we'll be able to get some nice dry laps in towards the end of this practice and qualifying session as well. But I'm not quite sure if we're going to have the time or not. It seems like there seems a Sheik there battling with the conditions and the car, and almost off the circuit, but almost into the wall there. But he's managed to regain control of that Supra to get himself back underway. Rav's in the wall as well. He's had a bit of a slide through the chicane as well, it seems, and getting that car backed out and turned around, he's going to have a bit of a slippery time there once again, starting his engines. He's got the front bumper damage there for his troubles as well. But I think, like I said, this is just the practice session, so we're going to have, as I was saying, the guest appearance there for myself in the comments box tonight for the final round of the season here in PSR. And the GR3 division there is, like I said, getting their practice and qualifying underway. At the moment, it seems like it is drying out, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to be dry enough just yet for the dry tyres. We'll have to wait and see. The drivers mostly are out on intermediates so far. Nadeem there coming through on the intermediates as well, again in the Supra. So like I said, a few Supras on the circuit. A penalty there for Muzzer as well, unfortunately for him, as we saw with Rav as well, coming through the chicane. So like I said, we'll run through the championship order very soon. But let's have a quick look. We'll have a quick look through the championship order now, shall we? As we go through into the final few minutes of the practice and qualifying. Currently, our championship leader there is Nadeem. He's on 108 points there after 8 races. Supermanny there is in P2. He's 90 points behind. So technically, Nadeem cannot be caught in this race unless there's some sort of issues there after the race that have to have some penalties taken into account, I'm sure. But it doesn't look like Nadeem can be caught, and so he would be the championship winner of this season as well, regardless of the finishes this season. Of course, the first place there will receive 15 points, and even with the fastest lap at 16 points, the gap between Manny and Nadeem is at 18 points. So I think Manny there will be just looking to race for some pride tonight to finish in P2. Then we've got KLM Pace. I don't think he's with us tonight, unfortunately. V Todd in P4, but he's not with us either, I don't think, which is a bit of a shame there. Reza in P5. Reza is on the circuit somewhere. He is currently on pole position as well. He is a formidable racer. We've raced with him before and commentated on him before as well. He has got the pace in GT7, but he's tied on points for the time being, that is, with DJ Death Dragon, who is currently sitting in the pit lane, but he is currently in P6 as DJ, both on 42 points with Reza as well. And of course, I think we've seen that DJ has got the most fastest laps so far this season as well. So DJ looking good in the pace as well. Rav, I think this might be Rav, which I'm not quite sure if this is the same Rav. I'm very sorry if I've got that wrong. But he is currently in 7th place there on 38 points, so there's still points on offer for him. But he's having a few issues there coming to the start-finish line, unfortunately, for the top of the Viper there, reversing now down the main straight. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but there we go. Then he is trying to get himself back to the pit lane, I think, which is a bit of an odd way of doing it, but he's done it nonetheless. I think just about. There we go, getting the car spun around there into the pit entry. He can go. But like I said, there we go. KLM Pace has joined the session as well. He's starting in P3 tonight in the championship. I'm not quite sure what's going on here with Rav. Hopefully he can get himself either in the pit lane or back around the circuit. But he's having a few issues there indeed. There we go. So like I said, KLM is in the session now, I think. So he needs to pick his car, but he will be starting P3 in the championship there. He's not got much to play for. He can be caught by V Todd. No, he can't be caught by V Todd, sorry. So mathematically, KLM Pace is staying in P3 in the championship, regardless of what happens in this race as well. Naeem Mohammed in P8 in the championship, 32 points for Naeem. He is somewhere in here as well. He's in the pit lane currently, but we'll see what he can do later on in this race as well. He can to progress further up the order. He could progress all the way up to P4 with a win, and the results going the way of or in his favour, I should say, later on in this race, but we'll have to find out. And then we've got JOO there on 24 points in P9, Ashik there in P10 on 24 points as well, so there's still some battles there between those two to come. And then we've got DC Gaming there on 16 points, BRG Angel there, who is in the session there, he's in P12 on 16 points as well, and Muzzer in P14 on 8 points. So there's a few still to play for, a few positions still to play for the drivers, so there's quite a lot to unfold in this final race of the season, of course. But at the moment we're just going through the classifications there for the standings there as we get ourselves into the next stage. Of course, the qualifying will be done and dusted very soon, and I will have a quick break before we get on to the race itself. But like at the moment, it's turned. Well, still, I think there's still a spray coming up from the cars there as they go. As here comes Angel now down the main straight, but I think it's going to be turning very soon to dry conditions, which might favour a few more drivers. It might favour Reza though, who is also currently on pole position after setting a dry time at the very beginning of the session before the rain started to fall. So he got himself out on track very quickly indeed to get a fastest lap in so far, a 3 minute 55 there. As here comes Angel, is all over the back there of I think that's I'm not quite sure who that is, I'm afraid. I'll have to find out as who he comes out. He's right behind JOO there on the pace. His left and right indicator is blinking away, and then BGR Angel is through there ahead of the Ford GT of JOO. Good stuff indeed. Kaylin has said good luck all. Mohammed there as well said Knowlesy the legend. I don't think I'm the legend. I think the drivers are the ones who are the legends. The drivers are the ones putting on the show. I'm just here to talk over what you're doing. But so far everybody seems to be just cracking on for the time being. Like I said, getting the practice underway. We've run through the championship order, and we've got ourselves ready for the start of this race as well. Looking forward to seeing how it all develops as we get ourselves cracking for the finale of this season as well. And it's looking like it's going to be an interesting one. We've seen the drivers out on track. There's a few who have still got themselves sticking to their pit lane, I should say. The likes of DJ, Muzzer and KLM are sticking to the pit lane for the time being, but we'll see what the pace is like, of course, in the session itself when we get into the race in about 2 minutes time as well now. So and DJ said, I'm seeing you everywhere now. I hope you're not seeing me everywhere, because that would be very intimate. But fingers crossed that for your sake as well, that you are not blinded by what you see. But hopefully you won't see me too much. There you go. But hopefully you don't see too much of me. That's what I meant. But there we go. As we got DJ there, who is currently on track. He's not on track just yet. He's going to be getting ourselves enlightening us with his pace in the race. Of course, currently in P6, I think it is, in the championship. So he's not too far off, getting himself some good points. So there we go. Not raining for too long apparently, says the chat. But we'll have to find out what that's going to be like in the race. We've got a few drivers there going side by side through their lap round here, which I would probably say wouldn't be encouraged. But there we go. Now got a few more. I love rain racing as well, says Ravi there. So good luck indeed to Ravi and to the rest of the drivers as well, taking on the wet circuit. Of course, even in the dry, Le Mans is a very treacherous circuit anyway, so trying to get it right is quite difficult, especially this right-hander as well in the wet conditions. But yeah, like I said, when it does start to rain, and especially if it gets a bit dark as well. I remember trying to race around here. I think it was a trial race. I'm not quite sure what type of trial race it was, but it was I think it was using the F1 car. And it just turned to night during the race itself. Obviously, there was no headlights on that car, so you can't see what's going on in the dark. So yeah, that was quite interesting. But these drivers hopefully won't have that problem, and even if they did, they would be much more talented than I would be. So they've got the ability. They're just looking to show it off tonight as well. As into the pits comes Nadine there as well. So I think, like I said, we'll just get ourselves ready to get ourselves started, and we will be underway very shortly for the final race of the season, round 10 of 10 as well tonight here in Le Mans. We are ready to get going, I believe. I think we've just had the call from the race director, who of course is Reza. So there we go. I think we're ready to get ourselves into the race. We are ready to get going. Here we go. We'll start from the front, as Reza is currently leading the way, or leading from pole position, I should say. The lights will come on very, very shortly, and we'll be able to get ourselves started for the beginning of this Le Mans race itself. Here we go then, 5 red lights here in Le Mans. The 5 red lights are on, the 5 red lights are off, and away we go. A great start there from Mohammed. I'm not sure if he jumped the start or not, but it was a great start indeed. He managed to get through very nicely. He's taken the lead of the race before turn 1. Reza's dropping down into P2, I should say. Nadim up into P3 as well. Good stuff indeed. Angel, they're going around the outside into the first turn now, heads towards the inside. There's contact in between there, I think it is Manny there and BRG. Angel is down to the back as Angel, unfortunately, bad start indeed for the Porsche 911 driver. Rav has had an issue, he's got a penalty there I think as well. Has Rav, unfortunately, for his errors. I'm not quite sure what happened there to Rav, but he's managed to get himself underway anyway. KLM is in the BMW M3 GT3 tonight, so he is going to be taking us away. He started there right at the back as well, didn't set a timing in the practice or qualifying. He's now up into P7 on the soft compound tyres. Muzzer there in P8, P6 I should say, there in the Super. He's pushing Nadim there. Nadim is under pressure now from Muzzer as well. JOO has got a penalty in the Ford GT now, down towards the next complex of corners, the next chicane. There's side by side, it's almost 3 wide. Here goes Nadim there. Here goes Manny, I should say, or Muzzer I should say, hurried up into P4. Manny and Nadim there battling away as well, almost going to go side by side, it look like, into that chicane, but they think better of it as well, as Naim has taken the lead of the race. But here comes Reza now back at him down the straight towards the next chicane. Can he tuck into the slipstream? For the time being he has to, I think, just to make sure he's getting that extra overspeed there on the other GR Supra, as we go down towards the next chicane complex of this circuit as well. Now trying to tuck out to get the overtake, going to go side by side into the braking zone. It's going to be deep on the brakes, but he's not made the move there on the entry to the corner. Can he make a move on the exit to take the lead back of this race after losing it on the starting grid, on the start? Once again, side by side, these two battling away, both in the same car, but the extra pace, I think, there from Reza there, the current championship protagonist there in P4, has taken the lead back from Mohammed. Or they're going to go side by side still as they go into the deep right-hander. Here goes Reza there. He's gone deep as well, as I've said that, on the corner entry, and he's gone into P. He's taken P1 as well, just ahead now by a tenth, but ahead of Mohammed. Now Mohammed's got the slipstream. This time it's going to be wrong reversed down the next straight, as here comes Mohammed now into the next complex of corners. He's going to go down the inside into the next right-hander. He's got the lead back as Mohammed there, and he's got the lead just about by just under, I should say, half a tenth of a second. It's not much. Reza there has slotted into P2. Manny there has got a penalty. He's got 1 second penalty to be served, but he's now got that, going to have that taken out or taken away as he goes around the next right-hander. But that is him up into P3, but he'll drop places, I believe, to Muzzer. Muzzer is not far behind there in P4, looking good indeed on the other GR Supra. Seems like the Supras aren't doing too badly round the back. We had a few changes there, somebody going wide on the exit of the corner there. Manny dropping down to P4, like I said. Muzzer up into P3. We'll come back to that battle there down the order. Nadim is in P5 at the moment. Like I said, the championship winner already. He's already got the championship wrapped up, I believe, on the points paying positions. We've got 15 points for a win and 1 extra bonus point for the fastest lap, and that is he's got an 18-point gap in the championship, so it's looking all good and good and rosy there for Nadim. He's currently in P5 there, going to get some extra points for himself anyway. A sheep up into P6, but here comes KLM round the inside. That was a great move indeed there for the BMW M3. He's got himself straight through there, very nicely done indeed. Up into P6 there from the back of the grid already on this first lap. JOO, we saw him have a good start. He had a penalty as well to serve. He has dropped down to the back of the grid, or towards the back of the order. He's down to P8 there, as we've now got Rav all over the back of him here in the Dodge Viper as well. DJ there having a bit of a slower start. He's on the intermediate compound tyres, that's why. I'm not quite sure what's happened there to DJ. He's got the wrong tyre compound on, unfortunately, and hopefully he can get that sorted. unless we are expecting rain very shortly, in which case he might have a master stroke here in terms of strategy. He will save himself a lot of time in the pit lane there if the weather conditions do roll in very quickly indeed. Not the same said for Angel there. He's on the soft compound tyres, recovering there after his horrible start. I think he had a bit of contact there as well into the first couple of corners, going wide there into the entry of turn 2 as well. That will be a penalty, I think, as well, added onto his time, which is a big shame. He's already 20 seconds behind the leader after the first lap. The first lap has been completed, and Mohammed is leading the race. Very nicely done indeed from him, as Reza for the dub as well, says Ahmad as well. Ahmad is supporting the bright green, I should say, the lime green Supra tonight in Reza. And Reza there is on the soft compound tyres. They are burning through the tyres already, aren't they? Look at that. They're almost the contact between the two of them into the chicane. There is a big contact between both the Supras there, and luckily for Reza there is no damage. I think it's the same for Naeem as well. As well. He's got himself back underway, but the gap now is extended to almost 2 seconds. I'm not quite sure who was at fault there. There was a bit of contact between the two, and now Reza has been caught in the clutches now of the next GR Supra as well, which of course is Muzza here in the purple Supra. We've got the purple, the lime green, and then the gold Supra as well, as we go down towards the second of the chicanes along this straight. But now, unfortunately for Reza, he's not looking at the attack for the leader of the race. He's now looking behind to defend from P3, which is unfortunate scenes there for the Toyotas. Or for one of the Toyotas anyway. You can see they're the top 3 in the camera angle, and now the top 4. But like I said, we're seeing a bit of a maybe a desperate move. I'm not sure what happened there between Reza and Mohammed there into the first of the chicanes. We saw contact between the two. Luckily, no damage done, and nobody ended up in a wall or anything like that. But luckily, they can try and get themselves back underway. We can see the gap already coming back down between Reza and Mohammed as well. So Mohammed is going to be back under pressure very soon, I think, from this charging Supra we can see of Reza there in P2. Muzza they're going to try and stick with the top 2 as well. This is bringing them back into play there for a potential victory here if he can hold on to it. Of course, we've got plenty of laps to go and plenty of changes still to come as well. Manny there slotting into P4. He's in a bit of a lonely race at the moment, of course, only on lap 2, but he's in a bit of a lonely race so far, as we've got 4 Supras there from P1 down to P4. But like I said, he's currently almost 2.5 seconds behind P3, and he's got a 4-second gap there back to Pace, who's got himself past Nadeem up into P5. That BMW is on fire at the moment in this race. Obviously 2 laps in so far, but he's really going for it at the moment as well. So looking good indeed in the BMW for the time being. We've got a penalty in the background there, I think, for a sheep there coming round into the final the final sector or so. But here comes Nadeem there back for the attack. Can he get himself back up into P5? I don't think so. I think the BMW is now trying to pull away. Nadeem is now having to look behind it to watch out for a sheep, but of course with the sheep's penalty, we have to grab a bit more of a gap there in the next lap or so. Rav trying to catch up now to the pack. He's got a 4-second gap to a sheep. It is coming down pretty quickly, of course, after a sheep. I thought he was serving his penalty, but I think a sheep might have gone off the circuit there. He has still got the penalty as well, so the gap has come down now. It was about 4 seconds, now 3.2, 3.1. It's almost 3 seconds, so the gap coming down between Rav and the sheep now to get that order almost sorted as well. Double O is in P9 there. He's trying to keep up with the Ford GT as well. Not Ford, the GT, the Dodge Viper there. It's the Dodge Viper and the Ford GT. The other way around is what I meant. They've crossed the line there to start lap 3 for these two drivers as well. DJ there on the intermediate compound tyres still, but he's still powering on. Angel's caught up to the back of him now on those softs as well. Into turns 1 and 2 we go, but unfortunately for Angel, he's going to have to stick behind him. Can he get himself past now down the straight, past the Ford Mustang, isn't it, of the Dutch driver there? Can he get any moves started into turn 1? He's going to be having to go deep on the brakes, but of course on a different set of compound tyres, and of course the more optimum compound tyre as well. He might not have too much trouble as into turns 1 and 2 we go. All over the back of that Mustang is Angel as well. He's trying to get himself through. The lights are coming on now here in Le Mans as well. We were expecting weather changes as well, so Oh, a dive down the inside from Angel. Oh, there's contact there between himself and DJ. DJ Jim's getting his car back under control. And yeah, I think a bit of a push to pass as Angel there. He's being very sportsmanlike there and letting the Mustang back through there after a bit of an argy-bargy move there into turns 3, 4 and 5. And now he's going to have to try and fight back there down the straight. But I think, like I said, the intermediate compound tyres set on that Mustang, as he has got his indicator on, I think, to let Angel know that which way he should be going round. But there we go. Yeah, there we go. You can see on the Mustang there the indicator flashing there to go to the left-hand side. No, I think he's just pulling over to the left-hand side to let Angel go through. But they're still not making any moves, unfortunately, between the two of them. Up in the front, towards the front, I should say. Pace funneling that gap down there to Manny there in P4. The gap extending between Muzza and Reza, but Reza now all over the back. He's gone purple there in sector 2 as well. He's gone purple. He's right all over the back once again of his rival of Mohammed there down at the straight once again. Sorry, once again we go. The lights coming back on here in Le Mans now as the night starts to fall, and we're going to have to wait and see when the weather conditions will start to change as well. But at the moment, into the chicane, Reza takes the lead. Oh, there's contact once again between the two of them, and Reza's gone round. He's trying to keep the car under control. This is great news indeed for Muzza to bring himself back in this race. Can Muzza take the lead of this race as he goes down the inside of Reza? He's taking up P2, and now with the extra speed, can he get himself past the other Supra of Mohammed up into P1? Goes Muzza with a fantastic move. He took the advantage there of the previous top 2 battling away. Mohammed still sticking at it to try and keep hold of that P1, but at the moment he's having to slot back in behind for the time being, and this is great racing indeed for Muzza. He's got himself up in the lead of the race with the battles for the drivers around him as well, and that is him up into P1 for the time being. Mohammed there into P2 and Reza in P3. We've now got Superman there who's caught up to the back of the pack as well in P4. He's all over the back of these guys here, going a bit wide there in the entry to that corner, but he's managed to keep it on track very nicely done indeed. Out in front, Muzza has got the lead of the race. We can't really see what's going on now with the lights blinding the way, but we have got some action on track nonetheless, as that is looking very good indeed there. Muzza now taking the lead. Can he stretch his legs now and try and get a gap there to Mohammed? Mohammed, I think, blocking Reza there from getting himself any further up the order, which is helping Muzza now as well. If he can keep the lap together, he can get himself a nice little gap potentially to at least hold onto the lead for a few more corners, or maybe a lap more or two as well. Like I said, a very long lap indeed around here, as Muzza has set the fastest lap of the race so far. He's done a 3 minute 56. We saw a 3 minute 55 there in qualifying from Reza as well, didn't we? So we can see that as into the pit lane we go for Muzza, for Mohammed. Is Reza carrying on? Reza is carrying on, it looks like. So Reza reclaims the lead of the race. He's going to have to push now on those soft compound tyres. Into the pits goes Mohammed, so Manny as well. So the top 3 or top 4 previously, 3 of them have already pitted. Pace is also in the pits as well from P5. So Reza carrying on, as is Rav and JWO, I think it is. But we've got Nadeem also carrying on as well. So that is an interesting strategy call there as well. They're also running out of fuel quite drastically. You can see the difference in fuel levels there as they all get topped up as well in this race. JWO is carrying on as well. He's on the soft compound tyres. He's on the medium compound tyres, I should say. So he's going to go longer in this stint. Mohammed and Nadeem and Reza are on the soft. So it could be JWO taking the lead of this race in a lap or so. PGR Angel has carried on as well. He's up into P4 now after the difficult lap 1 he had, or the first couple of turns he had. He's got himself back up into P4. You're having yet to pit as well. Of course, Muzza now back out. He's the first driver there back out on track, and he is in P5 now. He's got the full tank of fuel and back out onto the soft compound tyres once again. Into the pits goes DJ Death Dragon. He's on the intermediate compound tyres still. I'm not quite sure what the strategy call there was from the Mustang, I'm afraid. He's now on to hopefully a new set of soft compound tyres, it looks like. Potentially we'll find out, but the Mustang is getting refueled, ready to get going once again. There we go then, back out on the into the lead of the race. He's got a 10-second gap there, has Reza, currently Nadeem in P2. Of course the top 2 yet to pit, the top 3 yet to pit actually I should say, because of course the Ford GT here of JWO yet to make their stop yet as well. Of course on the medium compound tyres he's started a bit slower than the drivers around him on the softs, but he's been able to keep going a bit longer in the first stint than the rest of them as well. Angel the same, he's on the soft compound tyres, the same as the top 2. He's going to to have to pit very soon, but the rain, I think, is starting to fall. Now, has this been a good call here from DJ? Then has DJ had to pit? He's pitted for the wet compound tyres as DJ. He's on to a change from the intermediates to the wets now as the Mustang. So I'm not quite sure what the intermediates call was, because unfortunately the intermediates were definitely not the right tyre to start the race on. But the Mustang now is back out on track on the wet compound tyres. He's refueled and ready to get going again. The track map is, I think we can change the track map, can't we? It's not letting me change the track map, unfortunately, so we'll come back to that one. But anyway, at the moment, like I was saying, it is the rain is starting to fall. You can hear it in the background. We can just about see on the cameras as well now. And I think the drivers there of Reza, Nadeem, JOO and Angel are trying to get themselves back to the pit lane as quickly as possible now to get themselves onto the wet compounds and of course refuel the cars. The fuel level is getting a bit low there in Reza's car. The Toyota Supra there currently, fuel light flashing as well, and that right rear soft compound tyre is almost ready to burst, it looks like, as well. He's got it's down to a 3.8 second lead. That gap is coming down between Reza and Nadeem there into the pit lane. Can he? Oh, he's off the circuit massively there. He's into the wall. A massive collision there from Reza into the wall there. We saw him having a massive incident is off the circuit as well. I think Nadeem has followed him off the circuit as well. Unfortunately, JOO overtaking has got him permitted. Oh, it's off the circuit again. Goes the other Ford GT. Let's have a look and see. Hopefully Angel there can sort himself out. But the rain is starting to fall so massively that the grip is just not there for the soft compound tyres. This is great news indeed for DJ, who is of course on the wet compound tyres now, because these drivers are struggling to get themselves back to the pit lane here, and this is great news indeed. Of course, I think everybody apart from DJ's on the dry compounds, which is great news, like I said, for the Mustang driver of DJ there in P11 currently at the back of the grid, because he's on the wet compound tyres. He started on the wets as well. He's got a penalty to serve there, has Nadeem and Reza as well. Oh my goodness, this is all action, all starting as well, as the rain seems to have already abated in this race. Has it gone straight back to dry? It looks like it might do, which is an outstanding strategy call. Maybe I was wrong completely, I'm not quite sure. Off the circuit goes Reza. Reza's having an issue there. He's currently in the lead of the race still, or it says he's in the lead of the race still, but he's really struggling to get that car pointed in the right direction. The tyres are almost dead, and the fuel is almost he's almost run out of fuel as well. Here comes Nadeem now, JOO all over the back of him here as well in the Ford GT. But at the moment they're just trying to keep the car on the grey stuff. You can see the car just trying to slide away there from the drivers, even under the slightest application of the throttle as well. This is not good news indeed for Nadeem and for JOO. They are really struggling there to keep the cars on the circuit. Same for Reza as well. Reza's lost, who had an 11-second lead. He's now down to 6.7 seconds. Into the pits he goes. He's managed to make his way back to the pit lane, thankfully, for the race leader, and of course the pole sitter as well. Nadeem there into the pit lane as well, and he's made it back there safely, as has JOO. Superman there is on the wet compound tyres. Superman, I didn't see on the wet compound tyres, is looking great indeed in this position now to take the lead of the race as he comes around the final chicane to cross, or the last couple of chicanes. He's missed out the wrong chicane, and now he's onto the main straight there to take the lead of this race there. Here's Superman. He's got himself up into P1. Let's have a look and see what is Ashik on. Ashik is on the intermediate compound tyres, so he could carry on in this race as well. Not a bad strategy call there from Ashik there in another Toyota Supra as well. Up into P2 there goes Ashik. What about pace on the soft compound tyres? He must have been struggling there in those wet conditions. He is struggling still in the wet conditions as he cuts across the circuit there, and there we can see the Mustang of DJ Death Dragon. Where's it gone? What's happening here? I can't see what's going on here. There we go, DJ Death Dragon up into P7 at the moment. There's still some more positions for him to gain as he crosses the line now up into P4. Off the circuit goes at pace there in the background on the main straight. Even on those soft compound tyres, is really even these conditions, they can't handle the wet conditions, the wet track now. It's got too wet there for the soft compound tyres. As off the circuit once again goes pace. He's having so much issues there with the car, and now he's got damage there to the front and rear bumpers as well. That is not good news at all. I think everybody now is on to either the intermediates or the wet compound tyres. DJ's there up into P4 now with a great strategy call indeed, up into P4, and of course he's got P3 in his sights, with JOO also having a penalty as well. That Mustang will be past the GT very soon indeed, and then that'll be DJ back up on the podium places after starting right at the back of the grid. It's a fantastic start indeed. Bob, if you can help, if you can, then pit in 2 laps time, says Fahim. I'm not quite sure when that message came through, but unfortunately I might have got that wrong, or might have just read that back too late. So unfortunately, I'm very sorry if that's the case. But here comes DJ Death Dragon now, trying to line the move for the podium places. It's Ford on Ford, it's Mustang on GT car. But let's have a look and see who's going to be able to make the move, if there's going to be any at all, into the all very deep on the brakes. He's managed to keep the car on the track there. Of course, the wet compound tyres they're gripping up there compared to those on the intermediates or the soft compound tyres at the moment. I think maybe the drivers who've gone on to intermediates might have made a good call here. It seems like the rain has slowed down. At least it's just the spray coming off the circuit. You can see here the spray that the Mustang is having to face. They're coming off the back of that Ford GT of JOO there. He's got the not going to move done just yet. Indicating once again to go to the left-hand side is the Mustang. Again, braking deep into the chicane. No moves being made just yet. But like I said, JOO has that penalty to serve, so that will be him moving out of the way regardless. We've got a penalty there for Reza in the background, and Nadeem in P6 at the moment. He's got himself a 3 come out there, unfortunately for him. Muzza has dropped down the order. No, he's not dropped down the order at all. He was actually no, he has dropped down the order. I'm not quite sure what happened to Muzza there. He was leading the race there after the pit stop phase, even with Reza's pit shenanigans as well as Nadeem's on the in lap there. They both had trouble there trying to get themselves into pit lane, as JOO has already been overtaken there by DJ Death Dragon. He's up into P3. There is the Dutch driver there in the Mustang. He's got a 30-second gap there to the lead of the race after the difficult first stint, I would say. I'm not quite sure. I thought the penalty line was just there, but it doesn't seem like JOO has served that penalty just yet. But we'll see if that's going to be served very soon. Again, the Mustang now up into P3, but I think the Ford GT driver of JOO looks like he wants to put the fight back on into the next complex of corners. He's gone down the inside there. JOO is up into P3 once again. He has got the penalty to serve, which will be served on the next after the next right-hander, as will Reza's penalty as well, and Nadeem's included too. So like I said, still plenty of laps to go, plenty of races to go. Here we go then. The penalty is now going to be served for JOO and for Reza as well, and for Nadeem. So there's going to be quite a few drivers there slowing down a little bit as we go onto the straight. And here goes DJ. He's got himself a nice little gap. Now he's away, and he can try and cruise after a sheep there in P2. JOO there has served his penalty now, but he's now going to get 2.5 second gap or so to DJ. Reza there has served his penalty as well. He's got a 2 second gap there to JOO, a 1.2 second gap there to Muzza, who didn't have any penalties to serve, which was good news indeed. Nadeem, after serving his 3 second penalty, has dropped himself down to P8. Unfortunately, though, he's down behind Rav now, who is he's on the soft compound tyres. Is Rav? I'm not quite sure. Again, the spray seems to have died down, so maybe we're on to back to the drivers already. I'm not quite sure if that's the right call. I wouldn't call it for myself. I've got spray off the line, still coming off the circuit there. That's off the racing line though. Maybe there is a dry line forming already in this one. It was a quick sprinkling there of rain. Nobody in the pit lane just yet, as far as I can tell. There's Angel there, has got penalty. Unfortunately for Angel, it's not going well this race. He's on the intermediate compound tyres. He's served his penalty, but he's having a few issues so far. He's quite far way back off this race at the moment as well. That is, but there we go. We'll have to wait and see if we can change that around. Out in the lead, Super Manny there has got a great lead indeed of a 20 second gap there to a sheep in P2, 10 seconds back further to DJ, and now we've got JOO trying to close the gap there on DJ for that podium place. Reza coming with him as well as Muzza in P5 and 6, so it's still all to play for there in this one. The gap now coming down. Reza is putting the pressure on, but here comes Muzza as well. Muzza is going to be very close indeed to the back of the Toyota Supra, of the lime green Supra I should say, as here comes Reza now down the straight towards the first of the chicanes. He's got a 2/10 of a second gap there to JOO. It's getting closer indeed. It's getting closer indeed. Here come the cars now into the first chicane. No moves made. Off goes the circuit. Off the circuit goes the Ford GT. That is dangerous indeed. He's now being passed there by Reza, and here comes Muzza as well. Muzza trying to make the move as well on the Ford GT as he's gone off the circuit there in the first chicane. The move has been made. Muzza now up into P5 and dropping down to P6 is the Ford GT of JOO. Now Rav got the pace as well to get himself past JOO into P6 as well on the soft compound tyres. We'll have to find out. JOO's under pressure. He's been passed already down the straight by the Dodge Viper, I should say. Up into P6 goes Rav. Great move indeed. Reza and Muzza have switched places as well. Reza up into P4. Muzza down into P5. Here comes Rav as well. Now Rav trying to go around the outside, turns to the inside of the next corner, but Rav now up into P5 there on the soft compound tyres. Has he made a strategy master stroke here and got on the right tyres at the right time? He's now up into P5 is Rav, and he's got a 30-second gap there to the lead, but that would potentially be a race lead if he can get himself up into the order there. He's only 30 seconds off the race lead should the other drivers around him have to pit as well. He's on the soft compound tyres. If he's made the strategy call right onto the dries, he could be on a race winning strategy here as well. Could the Viper driver as well? We'll have to find out. He's now going to be chasing down after Reza. He's got the pace there to get after Reza as well. He's really pushing on. Is the Viper driver, Dodge Viper driver, I should say. And now trying to chase after that P4 position. He's got a 0.5 of a second gap to try and negate. Can he get himself past that lime green Supra anytime soon? It looks like he's going to be trying to go for it anytime soon as well. It's not going to be long before the moves are made. Muzza now dropping out to P6. JOO there, we saw him in P4. He's been passed by so many drivers in the last few complex of corners, sliding around there on the wet compound tyres. I don't think the wets are the ideal tyre to be on now for that Ford GT. He's going to have to come into the pits very soon. I think the dawn is breaking here around the Le Mans circuit, so we're going to have a few more changes still to come there in this race. We're on to we're finishing off lap 6 now of the race, down towards the next few last few corners of the track, of the lap, I should say. And Muzza now is lost out the gap. Here comes Reza. Now Reza is under pressure from Rav. Reza's off the circuit. He's had an issue there. Has the bolster to the race leader previously. He's been passed as well by JOO there up into P6. There's JOO. Manny's in the pits there from the leader of the race. He's going to go off the wet compound tyres. The dawn has broken here in Le Mans, and let's have a look and see what he's going to go on to. It's taken him a while to get into the pit lane, of course. Ashik there is going to carry on though. He's on the intermediate compound tyres. He thinks it's not dry enough there to get onto the softs or the mediums just yet, that is. Ashik there is going to carry on there. He's going to take the lead of the race. Rav is going to come in the pit lane. I can't change the driver once again now. Right. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, it's still not working for me. I've got to go this way around, and now I can't do that either, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. Reza carries on in P2 now, is the previous race leader. He's having a few issues there on that last lap, but he's carrying on there on the intermediate compound tyres for the time being. Nadine there also carries on there on the intermediates into P3. He goes, Manny there comes out of the pit lane. He's on to the intermediates as well. He's on the P4 though. He's lost out his lead by switching from the wet compound tyres to the intermediate compound tyres. So does that mean he thinks that it's going to be still wet for a few more laps at least before he can now has to come into the pits there for the dry compound tyres? It looks like it for the time being. He's refueled the car. He's got a new set of the intermediate compound tyres onto that GR Supra, and now he's going to be trying to set his sights on getting back past Nadeem, past Reza and past the Sheik there to take back the lead of this race. In the pit lane is DJ. DJ's gone onto the medium compound tyres. He thinks it's dry enough now for the medium compound tyres. Rav has carried on as well. Like I was saying, Rav there on a good strategy call there, I think, although he had to stop for a bit more fuel, I think, didn't he? So he has stopped for the fuel, and he stopped for a set of soft compound tyres as well, but he was looking good indeed after making that call to stay out on the soft compound tyres. It looked like it was swinging back in his favour as well. The drivers ahead of him are all on intermediate compound tyres as well, so they will have to pit very soon if it does start to dry up very quickly. So Rav there not going too far away from a race-winning strategy, I don't think, here. DJ there on the medium compound tyres looking to carry on to the end of this race, I think, on those medium compound tyres. Potentially, we'll find out if they can last. JOO has pitted for the soft compound tyres. He's picked up a penalty at the same time, though, unfortunately for him. And Muzza has pitted for the medium compound tyres as well. So Muzza there, of course, one of the previous race leaders in this event. We've only done 6 and a bit laps. but 6.5 laps, I should say, really. But he's already got himself up in the race lead. He's dropped down now to P8 and he's got a penalty to serve as well. He's 52 seconds behind the race leader. You can see how that is strategy effective, really. It's nothing to do with how the race has gone. It's not they've all had the same strategy and all spaced out. It's just that the strategies have been all over the place, really, and there's been a few bits and pieces all flying all over the place, to be honest. But now the top 4 there on the intermediate compound tyres, and everybody behind, I believe. Everybody behind, well, unfortunately Angel's there off the circuit. Can't see what's going on here for Angel. He's had a few problems there. Green flag is being waved there by the marshal, but then we can see the Porsche coming around the corner very slowly indeed. I think BGR Angel's had a few issues there, unfortunately, on the wet to drying track. It can cause a few more hazards, can't it, to the grip conditions and the pace of the race there. Out in the lead, Reza has taken back the lead. I completely missed the overtake, unfortunately, but Reza now claims the lead back there after starting on pole position. He's made a great call after a few difficult laps there. It seemed like the previous, the pole sitter there, the previous winner in this season as well, has had a few difficulties there on the last couple of laps, but now it's starting to come back to him there in his favour. He's back up into his familiar P1 position, and now he's going to try and create a gap there to Ashik there, who's losing time there. Nadeem now up into P3. They're going to try and chase down Ashik very soon as well. Like I said, the top 4 all on the intermediate compound tyres, with Superman the most recent driver to pit. He has brought the gap down from 16 seconds when he left the pit lane down to 10.3, so it is coming down quite quickly there to the race leader. He's got to get himself past Nadeem and past Ashik there before he can start thinking about reclaiming the race lead, though, from Reza. Rav there has got a 3-second penalty to serve, unfortunately, for the Dodge Viper driver. He's got a 30-second gap there to the race lead as well, but he's on the soft compound tyres, so he's on the dry compound tyres, and as we can see, the dries are starting to be the more favourable tyre at this stage of the race. There is a bit of a spray coming up off the circuit at the moment, but the dry line has definitely formed, and as the dawn has broken, the dry line has begun to take shape now, and that is that done and dusted there. I think we've got the dry compound being the more optimal tyre now. As we can see, into the pit lane comes Reza there from the lead of the race. He's going to be calling it a day there on the intermediate compound tyres. Same for Ashik. I think Super Manny's carrying on there. Manny decided that he's going to stick it out one more lap there on the intermediate compound tyres, or at least one more lap, so he takes the lead back of the race. But will we see this being a optimal strategy call or the adverse strategy call there? Of course, the drivers there on the optimum tyre, on the best tyre, are going to have the best performance on track and therefore the quicker lap times. So if you're on the wrong tyre at the wrong time, it can cost you a few seconds, especially around this lap indeed, when it's about a 4-minute lap almost. So there I go, Rav there up into P2 there, takes up P2 there after staying on the soft compound tyres once again. Good strategy call there from Rav to stick it out there on the softs as well. He's got himself up into P2 now. He's got 20-second gap there to the leader as well, but of course Super Manny is on the intermediate compound tyres, and we're expecting them to drop off very soon indeed, because we're expecting a few more pit stops as the dry conditions start to come back into favour. DJ now back up into P3 after once again a great strategy call there from the Mustang driver, back up into the podium places for the Mustang, the Coca-Cola themed livery as well, which we've been familiar with if you've watched me commentate on GT7 before. He's stuck to his guns there. He's gone purple as well in sector 1 as well. Good stuff indeed. But like I said, he's stuck to his Coca-Cola themed livery, keeping him cool and refreshed as he drives around the circuit as well. Reza there back out into P4 on the soft compound tyres now with a fresh set of softs and a full tank of fuel. Let's see what he can do. Can he get himself back up into the lead of this race? He's got a 36-second gap there to the race leader, but of course Manny there yet to pit, so technically it will be Rav leading the way, DJ in P3 and Reza back into DJ into P2, sorry, and then Reza into P3 once Manny does make his pit stop from the intermediate compound tyres to the dry compound tyres. You can see now that the dries are definitely the optimum strategy, because the drivers are coming in and getting themselves all sorted now onto the right compound. I think Reza they're struggling to get the car through the chicane there, as here comes JWO there on the softs as well, of course putting a lap earlier. Can he make any moves next into the second chicane down the straight on the previous pole sitter there and the previous race leader of Reza, as here we go then down the back straight as well. Muzzer is all over the back of him as well. Muzzer trying to follow through if there's any mistakes there for the two drivers ahead of him, he's going to be able to pounce and get those positions very soon as well, as he looks like he's going to run up and move into the chicane. Is he going to be all over the back there of the Ford GT? Off the circuit goes Reza. Reza's once again is off the circuit. I'm not sure if there's contact or a helping hand there. He's got a front bumper damage for the Supra there. In through goes Ashik, Nadim and Mohammed as well. Not looking good indeed for Reza. I'm not quite sure if there was a failure there on the brakes for that Supra. There's in comes KLM as well. He's got himself back over into P9, has the BMW M3 driver, but unfortunately it seems there for Reza he's had a massive issue there off the circuit. I'm not quite sure if there was just a brake failure there for the it seemed like a brake failure because it looked like he went straight on into the chicane rather than actually cutting into the left-hander or the first part of the chicane. Unfortunately for the Toyota Supra there, he's had an issue. He has got the car repaired there. He's got a penalty there for the wall collision. Unfortunately for him, that is not good news indeed. Angel there's really having trouble in this lap as well. He's down almost 2 minutes there to the race leader. Manning is carrying on though. He might be coming into the pits very soon indeed on this lap. We'll find out as he's just negotiating the last few corners of the circuit before he can get himself back into the pit lane. But at the moment he has a 27-second lead there over Rav, who is he's now losing time there to DJ. He's got the penalty to serve as well. So I'm not quite sure when that's going to come off. I don't think it's coming off just yet. But the gap now is slowing down as Rav. DJ is really on fire at the moment. Either way, one of them is going to be moving positions very soon indeed. Here comes DJ now. The gap now down to under 2 seconds between himself and the Viper that's just ahead of him now in his sights. Here it comes. Can the move be made very soon indeed? I think it's going to be made sooner rather than later. Here comes DJ now in the Mustang round at the next flowing part of the last few corners. Super Manny has stayed out. I think once again he's staying out again. Is the race leader. He's got a 28 second gap now to Rav, who's picked up a penalty as well. Rav they're struggling now on the soft compound tires, potentially with the pressure there of DJ there coming up behind him. He might be scared of what's coming up in his mirrors instead of worrying about his own race pace at this stage of the race. But no moves being made just yet. The gap now down to 1.5 seconds between DJ and the Dodge Viper there of Rav for P2, and it's looking closer and closer indeed as they come across to start their lap 9 now of this race. Well, like I said, very long lap indeed, a 4 minute 6 there for DJ. So like I said, it's a very long lap indeed, almost just over 4 minutes per lap that is. So we've done 9 laps so far. Currently, Manny they're staying out on the intermediate compound tyres. He thinks that the right tyre for the time being is still the intermediate compound tyre. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be right, especially towards the end of this lap. I think it might be too dry there for the intermediate compound tyres at the end. By the end of this lap, and of course you've still got about half a lap or just over half a lap to go, and that gap is now coming down between himself and Rav. It's now down into 25 seconds, so that gap even naturally is coming down as Rav there goes purple in sector 1 of the circuit. A bit there goes Rav as well, so he's having to try and battle with the car, battle with the penalties as well, it looks like as well, and also battle with who is coming up right behind him, which is DJ there in the Mustang. They're all over the back there of the Viper there as well, it seems, and now bearing down there on P2. Potentially, can he make any moves now into the next couple of chicanes that we've got along this straight? I think he's a bit too far back at this moment just to make any moves. We've got a 1.3 second gap there between himself and the Viper there for P2. We'll come back to the battle. There's Muzzle now up into P4. He's got a 36 second gap there to the lead of the race. But we'll have to wait and see who's going to be going to be coming in the next phase. Of course, on the medium compound tyres, you can go a bit longer there in the first stint, or in this stint, I should say. So maybe you can go a bit more and a bit longer and undercut the race leaders or the drivers ahead of him there to try and get himself up into P1 once again. 00 in P5 there on the soft compound tyres as well, holding back Mohammed there at the moment. Mohammed there, of course, one of the previous race leaders, has now dropped down to P6 there, but now trying to make a move there for P5. Down the straight he goes, he's got the slipstream there, engaged, he's already alongside, he's already passed the Ford GT before any sort of corner even comes into sight, it looks like. But a great move there indeed from Mohammed there up into P5. Now can he set his sights on Muzza to try and catch up to the podium places as well. Into the chicane we go, very nicely done indeed by both drivers. Ashik there in P7, they've now got Nadim all over the back of him as well. Nadim having a bit of a difficult race at the moment, but he's on the soft compound tyres now. Can he get himself up into a higher echelon of points? But now KLM has caught up to the pace as well, literally. No pun intended there, of course. But there the BMW M3 there catching up now to the rest of the pack and onto the soft compound tyres as well. He's now got himself a lot of pace there in that BMW to try and get himself back up into some higher points paying positions back in P10. Unfortunately, Reza, they're recovering the car. He's got himself back underway. He's still in the points paying positions for the time being, but he's not having a great race at this stage of the race, I should say. But at the moment, we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, we're only on lap 9. We'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. And somebody's Kalen has said, "Lol, I flopped." I'm not quite sure who Kalen is, I'm afraid, but we'll have to wait and see. I think it was a mistake that happened quite a long time ago, so I'm not quite sure if it was one of the race leaders previously when we saw them into the wall. But nonetheless, they have got themselves back out underway. They've sorted themselves out, and now they can crack on for the remainder of this race. There we go. Out in the lead goes Manny there. He's currently, like I said, on the intermediate compound tyres, but the fuel level's getting very low indeed. So we will see, I think, a pit stop very soon there from. Here we are in the pits there from Manny there. The race leader has called it a day there on the intermediate compound tyres, and so he's into the pit lane now. With this pit stop, I think, or DJ's in the pit lane as well, as is Rav. So I was going to say that DJ could take the lead of the race here, but I don't think so now that Manny has arrived in the pit lane there. You can see the Supra getting serviced by the pit crew onto another set of tyres there, and I think a bit more fuel being added there to the car as well. Anybody can carry on in this race. Yes, Muzza reclaims the race lead there onto lap 10. And we are back underway there for Muzza, back in the lead of the race once again on the medium compound tyres. But like I said, I think he will have to make a pit stop very soon as well for the fuel in the next lap or so, I would say. Albeit the medium compound tyres don't seem to be too bad, or don't seem to be in too bad of a condition for the time being. Mohammed there takes up P2, I should say, as well on the soft compound tyres. Manny there back out into P3 there from the leader of the race. So not too much time lost there for Manny. He's only 10 seconds back from the race leader. So it's not too bad indeed for Manny at the moment. Nadeem there back up into P4, but it's now got Ashik there for company. Reza there up into P6 as DJ has made his stop as well. DJ now onto the soft compound tyres and onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres. Rav is back out right behind him as well. So Rav and DJ switching places just before the pit stops there, which has meant that DJ now is in the next P2 should all the drivers there who previously pitted do pit again. But I think we're coming towards the end of the race, to be fair. I'm not quite sure exactly how long the race is going to go on for, but I think it's going to be finished by 8 o'clock. So nonetheless, we should be getting towards the end of the race, I would say. JWO in P9 there currently. He's on to a fresh set of softs as well as a full tank of fuel, so can go to the end of the race, I would say. So from here, as well as KLM Pace as well, is also pitted for a fresh set of softs and for a full tank of fuel as well. But there we go, Angel there in P11 is in the pit lane as well, but he's come back in to get himself sorted. The gap at the front, Sigmani has got himself past Naeem Mohammed there up into P2 there, and now looking to get himself set his sights back on that lead of the race as well into the chicane once again. No moves being made there by Nadeem there into the chicane, trying to get himself up into the podium places ahead of Mohammed. But Manny there now looking to bring that gap down even further. It's now 5.5 seconds, the gap coming down so quickly there to Muzza there in P1. Of course, what they need to worry about now towards the end of this race is making sure the tyres and the fuel tank can get at the end of the race without them either running out of both or running out of either, because this is the last stint really, I think, on the of this race before the checkered flag does fall. We'll find out very soon indeed. But now the gap is under 5 seconds there to the lead of the race. I think Manny there could be on track there for potentially a race win, but can Mohammed, can Nadeem, can Ashik, can Reza even hold a candle to them? We've got a big gap there between himself between Reza and DJ. DJ's off the circuit, unfortunately for DJ's not having a good time there on those soft compound tyres. Here comes Rav there for P7, I think. Rav there does get the move up into P7. There goes the Viper there ahead of the Mustang for the time being. But I think these two drivers there were one of the later two to switch onto the soft compound tyres to go to the end of the race. We might see them struggle, but I think we might, certainly in the case of DJ and Rav, potentially see them actually get some good results out of this if the other drivers ahead of them start to run out of fuel or tyres towards the end. They're going to go side by side through here. It looks like anyway, as Rav there on the outside now, as DJ tries to cover him off. He's slotted in behind there, has Rav now into the next section of the circuit as well. But yeah, like I said, these two battling is going to cost them a bit of time as well. The gap now is up to 19 seconds there to Reza in P6 for the time being. Of course, Reza there is going to be looking to maybe carry on for another lap or two as well. Out in front, the gap now down to under 3 seconds. It's now 2.7 seconds, but into the pits goes the race leader anyway, so that is the race lead done and dusted there. It's been claimed back by Super Manny there. Up into P1 he goes there, as we can see Muzzer there entering the pit lane there to get himself a new set of boots and a bit more fuel on board, I think, what is he in? He's in the Supra again, I think, isn't he? Nadeem there carries on there in the other Supra, one of the other Supras, up into P2 there for Nadeem. Reza there back up into P3, back on the podium there as Reza after a bit of a difficult race. It could be not too much doom and gloom for him if he can get a podium finish. Sheep there in P4 for the time being as well, carrying on there on the soft compound tyres with the fuel light soon to come on as well. He's got about a quarter of a tank left. Here comes DJ now up into P5. There goes DJ. So DJ, we're hoping, as will Rav as well, that they both pitted at the same time. DJ and Rav will be hoping that the fuel levels and the soft compound tyres run out on the previous four drivers, the top four drivers ahead of them, and they will have to come into the pits very soon indeed at the end of this lap, potentially even, so that they can get refueled and re-tired, so that they can DJ then claim the lead of the race or potentially get himself at least on the podium, as would be the same for Rav as well if they were to get themselves back out in the order. Rav there going fastest, he's gone purple there in sector 1, I think it is. Muzzer there is back out of the pits there onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres and a full tank of fuel out in P7. He's got a 47 second gap to the race lead, but we have seen, of course, Manny there yet to make a stop on after those soft compound tyres have gone on. Nadeem the same for Reza, the same for Rashid. We've got the DJ there and Rav, who were pitted about I think it was about a lap or two ago. So it wasn't too long ago indeed for these two drivers, but they're coming through the chicane system as well. It looks like DJ having a few issues there, trying to get the car through the chicane there on track, but he's made it through very nicely done indeed. Now let's have a look and see what the gap's going to be like around the rest of the order. JWO there is in the Ford GT, but unfortunately it's just not working out for the time being for the GT driver. KLM as well, having a bit of a difficult race there in the BMW M3. It looked like it was going to go really well there off the start, as then behind him comes Mohammed now. Mohammed has just pitted there for the soft compound tyres and for a full tank of fuel, so he will be a lot faster, a lot more grippier at this stage of the race there compared to KLM right ahead of him now as they go down the back stretch, say towards the chicanes. No moves being made just yet, but now the gap is under a second between the two of them, and we can see if there's going to be any moves made, it will be made very soon indeed, because Mohammed doesn't want to be held up by the M3 much more than he needs to be, of course. Otherwise this is going to cost him more time and more pace in this race as well. The fastest lap currently sitting with Muzzer, who's in P7, but of course has just pitted as well. 3 minute 56 there, 8:08 is the current fastest time, so that is going to be an extra point there for whoever holds that at the end of the race, and currently that is Muzzer in P7 for the time being. Here comes Mohammed once again. Can he make any moves there? There's now two drivers ahead of him as they caught up to JWO as well, as now they start the final few complexes of this lap as well. Lap 10 we go, or lap 11 so we go, but here we go then. I think there's a bit more problems there for KLM coming out with that right-hander, and now there's going to be pressure on from the Supra right behind him. Mohammed there coming back at him, and can he make any moves now, Mohammed, into the next couple of corners or so? I'll have to find out now. They're all in a nose to tail queue almost between these drivers here. Unfortunately for Angel, he's had a really difficult race, this the driver there at the back of the grid. He's in the M&M themed livery for that Porsche 911, but he's having a few struggles unfortunately for the time being. Penalties for the two drivers ahead of him for Mohammed there, which is good news, as they will be crossing the penalty line very shortly. JWO and KLM going side by side as they go around the next right-hander. A bit of a nudge there indeed from the BMW as well, which is a bit of a shame there, but they managed to get themselves through nicely. Here comes Mohammed. No, Mohammed's not actually been able to catch up, to be fair. Or has he now? Unfortunately for the drivers in penalty, they've served their penalties now as Reza and Nadeem in the pit lane. We'll come back to that battle there, as here comes Mohammed there up into P9. He's got himself past the Ford GT of JWO up into P9 now, and JWO dropping down to P10. Unfortunately for the GT driver, their contact between the two of them though, they're still bumping and barging as they go through into the next section of corners. No moves being made, but this is allowing KLM to get himself away from the battling behind, and that is not good news indeed for either driver, to be fair, from Mohammed or for JWO. That is bad news, because KLM now is stretching his legs. They're trying to get himself away. Into the pits comes Reza and Nadeem and the Sheik. That has relinquished the lead, or not relinquished the lead, as Manny there still has the lead of the race there in P1 by 26 seconds there. But the DJ now up into P2, Rav into P3, Muzza now carries on in P4 after pitting on the last lap. We're on to lap 12, and we're getting towards the end, I think, of the race itself. We've done 48 minutes of this race so far, so we're almost there, I think. But I'm not quite sure how long this race goes on for, to be honest. So I think we'll find out. I think it's about an hour. We'll find out when we get to the end of that, when we get to that checkered flag. But at the moment, Muzza there up into P4, Nadeem there in P5. Reza in P6 there, Mohammed there in P7 there, having got himself past Ashik as well. JWO and KLM are in the pit lane, and they are servicing their cars as it stands at the moment. But Ashik, they're coming back out on the soft compound tyres into P8. We might still see some changes yet, because I think we might still see some tyres dropping off still, and potentially some fuel tanks needing refueling as well. So stay tuned with us. There's going to be some more action coming up. Right, a quick water break there, as looks like the gaps there between DJ and Rav still sticking out in the same. Further down the order, Nadeem has got himself after Muzza now. No, he hasn't. He's got himself under pressure, I should say, from Reza. Reza is in P6, Nadeem in P5, and the pressure is coming now from the lime green Supra on the red Supra, and we can see even a gold Supra in the background of Mohammed trying to catch up to this battle here as well for P5. But at the moment there's nothing doing between those drivers so far. Further down the order, the gaps are starting to emerge now as the drivers there get towards the end of this race. There's a penalty there for Rav there to be served there at the next right-hander as well. So that is not good news there. But here comes Reza now. This is the closest battle on track so far, or at the moment I should say. Nadeem and Reza there as they come down towards the into the last few couple of corners of this lap as well. Not too long to go there for this one, as they're both on fresh soft compound tyres, and they've got enough fuel in the tank there for the next lap or so. But will we see some more pit stops in the next lap or so as well? We'll have to find out. Reza, they're usually good on the strategy. Let's have a look and see what he can do there in this race. Can he get himself back into the podium places? Potentially, we'll find out as well. As we've got to do is make sure that they can get themselves through these complex corners very smoothly. Now the gap down to under half a second there between the two of them. Reza, they're doing a great job there through the last complex to get himself even closer to the back of that red Supra, I should say. I'm literally just switching between the two of them there, as here comes Nadeem under pressure there from Reza. There you can see Reza was really going for it now at this stage of the race, trying to get himself back up the order there in the lime green Supra. Like I said, they're both doing a good job there for the Supra outfit. Like I said, the Toyota Supra is very well represented there in this race. Is the final race of the season here for the PSR Purple Sector Racing League as well, the GT3 division. Now Reza side by side there with Mohammed Nadeem, sorry I should say. He's got himself up into P6, P5 I should say even, as they pass the pit lane entry. They're both of them carrying on this lap, no pit stops needed, as they both go through there to finish off their lap 12. Manny has stayed up, we're coming out of the pits I should say now. He's up onto the soft compound tyres and a fresh bit of fuel as well. Muzza is carrying on, they've got half a tank of fuel and a few used soft compound tyres there. He's now down to 1.8 seconds is the gap at the lead, but Manny there coming back out of the pit lane on the lap 13 is onto the fresh best strategy indeed as well, onto fresh soft compound tyres and a full tank of fuel to get to the end of this race, no doubt, I would imagine anyway. Muzza there in P2 there, of course, is now got a 2 second gap there. Reza now up into P3, back up into P3 as he's got past Nadeem there on the last 3 corners of the last lap, lap 12, and now onto lap 13. He's back up in the podium places. Nadeem there trying to chase him down, or trying to stay with the new P3 sitter, as Mohammed there slots himself up into P5 there. Of course, more worn tyres there for Mohammed and less fuel on board. But like I said, it depends on when we does cross the line. When the checker flag does fall, Rav and DJ have swapped places again in the pit lane entry, as Rav now up into P6, DJ there on to into P7 I should say, and now both of them on the fresh soft compound tyres again with more fuel added on board. Sheik there slots himself back out into P8 there, 00 down into P7. KLM's had an issue I think, as KLM has dropped down massively off the back of the field. He's come back into the pits now as well, but not looking good there unfortunately for KLM. He's still going to be able to cling on to that last points paying position in P10, but a bit of a shame there for KLM there, not being able to run the race that he probably wanted to, and show his outstanding pace that we've seen in the previous races of this season as well, of course, in the higher echelons of the standings as well throughout the season is KLM, but not this race unfortunately. He's had a few difficulties in this one, which is a bit of a shame indeed. Manny there is currently out in the lead, and he's now increased his lead already by almost 2.5 seconds there in the last sort of 10 or 15 corners or so, which is no mean feat, although it's a long lap. Manny is looking to set the pace now on those fresh tyres as well, potentially can get himself that fastest lap back as well. We now see DJ's got the fastest lap of a 3 minute 56 2.73, so that will be an extra point for DJ regardless of where he finishes in the race. He'll get that 1 point there added to his tally in the standings as well. But there we go. Looks like Manny there commanding the victory so far. He is looking good indeed. Come on Reza, says Riaz in the comment section as well. Reza there in P3. Can he get himself further up the order? He's now got a 2 second gap there to Muzza in P2. Can he get himself back up into pole position is the next question. I think he can't. Unfortunately, I don't think he can actually, because we can see the likes of Manny there has got a full. He's just come out of the pits there on this lap. He's got a fresh set of softs and a full tank of fuel. Manny has played this absolutely perfectly, I think, in terms of the race strategy. That is, Muzza there in P2, Reza in P3. And Reza there bringing the gap down now to Muzza as well. Nadeem there is following through this battle as well. He's going to be trying to stay as close as he can there to the battle, so that he can potentially get himself on the podium as well if there's any mistakes there for the two drivers that you can see just ahead of him as well. Here comes Nadeem there trying to keep the gap down. It's 1.5 seconds there to Reza, and the gap ahead of him is now under 1 second now to Muzza as well. So it's very close indeed for P2 down to P4. Mohammed there is running a quite quiet race at the moment. He's got a nice little gap there between Nadeem there, a 9 second gap there, and DJ there in P8 or P6 I should say at the moment. But I think there might be some pit stops coming very soon, because it looks like the drivers there, some of the drivers running out of soft compound tyres. DJ we just saw pit for the fresh soft. He's got himself back past Rav, who was in P6 when they came out the pit lane, and Rav now is down into P7 there for the time being. DJ getting himself going a bit wider, but Rav going even wider as well on the exit of that corner, but no harm done for either of them, as they now come on to the final couple of chicanes there for the end of lap 13, and to start lap 14 as well. No pit stop action for the top 8 It doesn't look like anyway. No pit stop action at all. It doesn't look like either, to be honest. JW will be the next driver to come across the line as well. JW there is sliding around. You can hear the tyre squirrel there on that 4GT there. He's really pushing those soft tyres to the limit, isn't he? But I think he's comfortably, well, he's not comfortably, but I think he probably wanted to be further up the order, but he's going to be comfortably in P9, and they're not looking too worried about losing out on P10 for the time being. I think he's carrying on. It looks like the soft compound tyre, especially the left rear, is absolutely mangled, or will be mangled by the end of this lap especially, but nonetheless he's done a great job there carrying on in this race. He's got a 55-second gap there to the race leader for the time being. Out in front, the gap is now extended to 7.1 seconds. It's absolutely massive in favour of Manny. Reza's got himself up into P2, but he's got a penalty for his troubles. Not quite sure what happened there. It looked like Reza might have gone for an aggressive move, and that's cost him a penalty as well. That's a 1 second penalty, which will help Mazza get himself back up into P2 potentially, if he can just cling on to the back of that lime green Supra. The Supra battle, as we'll have a look and see, there's a Supra in the lead, there's a Supra in P2, there's a Supra in P3, and a Supra in P4. And there's a Supra in P5 as well, but I think there might be for a little less longer, because now we can see DJ there. DJ's trying to line up a move there on the back of P5 of Mohammed there. Can he make any moves now down the straight? He's tucked up in the slipstream very nicely indeed. He's got a 1.5 second penalty that'll be added onto his race time, which is not going to use indeed for him though. Now trying to follow as close as he can there too at the back of that Supra. Reza has got the fastest lap point so far. He's now done a 3 minute 55.371. That's almost a second faster than DJ's previous lap time, which is a great lap time indeed there from both drivers, but an even better lap time indeed from Reza. Of course, that's close to his qualifying time, and that puts himself comfortably as he's got himself up into P2. Of course, with the penalty added on to that as well. We'll have to find out if that's going to lose him out of that P2 position. We'll find out. But he's now got a 2 second gap almost to Mazza. Nadeem now putting pressure on Mazza as well for P3. Can the red Supra get past the purple Supra? And it looks like that might be the case. They're going to be battling side by side now as they go through the next complex of corners towards the end of the lap as well. This is lap 14. I think we're very soon going to be on the end towards the end. Sorry, of lap 14, and that will be that for the race as well. But we are at the 1 hour mark very soon. So like I said, we'll be jumping over. Hopefully I'll be able to jump into my F1 race very soon as well. But at the moment, it looks like Reza's there serving his penalty now as well. Will that be able to bring the gap down to Nadeem, sorry, I should say, and Mazza as well? Let's have a look and see if they can make any moves now down the straight. I think Reza might be able to cling on to the race. It's the P2 at the moment. Across the line, we're going to be looking at Manny there. As I don't know, is he going to cross the line before we get to the 1 hour mark? I think it might be close indeed. It looks like we've got a car there sitting on the straight as well, to be honest. As now we go round the last complex of corners, I think the 1 hour mark has been reached. Or it looks like it has been reached. Anyway, the final lap has been called as well. There we go. So this is the final lap of the race as DJ's left the session. What's happened to DJ? Unfortunately, he's left the session before the race finish, I think. I'm not quite sure, but we'll come back to that one as here comes Manny there round the final corner to win the Le Mans race as well. Fantastic race, the final race of the season as well. Goes to Super Manny there with a fantastic race indeed. Really well commanded victory there from the Toyota Supra driver as well. Well deserved. Reza there will cross the line in P2. A difficult start of the race there, and a few laps there in the wet conditions there cost him, unfortunately. Nadeem there in P3 as well. Good race from him as well. P3 on the podium places. Mazza there in P4. Looked like he could have gone for a win, but unfortunately P4 is where I have to settle for the time being. Rav there in P5. Nadeem Naeem in P6 there. Ashik will finish in P7 in this race. And then we'll have, I think it's JOO and KLM Pace, who will finish in P8 and P9. BRG Angel has been promoted to P10 with DJ, I think, disconnecting. I think on the final few corners, he wasn't far away from the last checkered flag, or the checkered flag itself, I should say. But unfortunately, that disconnection there has cost him. As here comes JOO there to finish the race off in P8. Then we've got a bit of a wait there for KLM to cross the line as well. But here comes JOO up into P8 position. Superman there, of course, your race winner there. Reza in P2, Nadeem in P3, Mazza in P4, Rav in P5, Mohammed there in P6, Ashik P7, JOO P8, KLM will cross the line in P9. BGR Angel is in P10. Well, fantastic race indeed there to finish off the season as well. Good stuff indeed from all the drivers as well who took place in this one. Really good race indeed from all the drivers who took part, and we'll hopefully see you soon for a new season of PSR very soon.